Andrew McLeod has come out, Caroline, and had a few things to say, which is disconcerting for everyone involved. It's one of those things that's sort of thrown everybody a bit off.
Well, the comments came in a podcast. Let's look at how it unfolded before we have a chat about it.
The winner of the Norm Smith medal for 1997 is Andrew McLeod of the Adelaide Crows. The Norm Smith medalist is Andrew McLeod of Adelaide. 2 in a row.
Like, if you ask me if I felt comfortable walking back into the football club, I'd say no. Like, I don't walk into the change rooms and I don't sort of walk around. I just feel, I don't know, it's one of those things, and I've had this conversation with a lot of my old teammates, is that it's not a place that you feel welcome. And you see lots of guys go back to their footy clubs and they feel welcome. For me, the Crows doesn't really have that vibe. I don't get an invite down there to have a beer or anything like that. It's
they're going to get you a statue.
And then, of course, a couple of Andrew's ex-premiership teammates had a bit to say in response. We'll kick off with the past players boss, Rod Jamieson.
Yeah, it was a little surprising from Andrew. He's an employer of the club. He's an assistant coach to the ladies team, so his actions don't reflect what he said. I spoke to Andrew yesterday. He feels the way he does, which is unfortunate. From our past players and officials' perspective, we couldn't be doing anything better for all of our past players and officials, and the AFLPA have recognised that for a number of years.
I was really disappointed to hear it yesterday, to be honest. It's, for everything that Andrew's done for the club and what he's given to the club, for him to feel like that, when I first heard it, I thought, why would he feel like that?
Look, every club has these situations with former players. You've been through it with players. You have. I just don't know if that's the right response, Ed. I mean, clearly Andrew McLeod is not making it up. This is the way he feels. It's not just something he's making up. He's not... Yes, he does work at the club, but at the moment his community program, the Indigenous Players program, has been shut down like a lot of community programs, so he's not at the club. The women's season is over. He's not at the club. I'm not sure if Rod Jamieson, who is also on the past players and a director, I don't know if that response is probably the right response. You need to look into why the player feels like this. You can't have Andrew McLeod falling out with the Adelaide
Well,
Pirates.
there's always two truths, and we've seen that there. So that's the bottom line. But you need to take him on face value and work with him and make the changes, even if it's just Andrew that feels like that. He's so important historically and a great. There are always two truths. So I don't think you can push back about what management is saying, but equally you can't just ignore his comments, and particularly when he's been challenged and has stood his ground on them. It's a very difficult and delicate situation.
Adelaide can't take a trick at the moment, Matthew, and it's got nothing to do with Matthew Nicks. But obviously the camp situation earlier this year, where they were lucky to escape the penalty they did, but they did have a senior assistant coach suspended. So Matthew Nicks, who has got less senior assistant help than most other coaches in the AFL, now has one less, or is going to have one less for the next couple of weeks. He's still suspended in Ben Hart. He's got a lot of junior blokes around him. Adam Kennedy comes with a good reputation, but he's not an experienced football boss. And I just wonder how tough it's going to be.
Adam Kelly, I think you meant to say that. Yeah.
Sorry.
Adam Kelly, yeah.
Adam, I just wonder how hard it's going to be for a rookie coach with now you have a big name like this coming out and having a crack at his club.
I don't think it's about Nixie. I think it's about the football club
it's not about him, but it's another thing he has to manage.
They've lost a lot of respect over a period of time, the Adelaide Crows, just one thing after another. And I think they need to ask themselves, Andrew, they may feel Andrew could be disgruntled for another factor. A lot of players feel entitled once they leave their club. Doesn't matter what career you've had, you're not entitled. The club gives you as much as you give back to them. But I'd go and seek out a few other players and I'd say, what do you make of Andrew's comments? Is he on the money? Because maybe they need to take a look
But sometimes it's as simple as what Andrew's used to being. You've got a new senior coach, you've got a new football operations manager, you've got a new conditioner. So familiar faces that when you walk in and you're not sure, they'll say, come through and we'll bring you through. And if you walk in, you don't know anyone and someone just has a bad moment where they don't embrace you, next minute it's off and it's a bushfire. It can be as simple as that sometimes.
Look, years ago, I had a past player, a great bloke, and he complained. He said, I didn't get my tickets last year, didn't send my tickets. So I went and found out and dug it all out and I said, is this your address? I said, no. I said, when did you move? He said, 6 months ago. You didn't tell anyone. So the point is, Co, where it goes a bit wrong sometimes is players, when they finish up, you don't go and have a beer and watch training anymore because they're training at 10 o'clock in the morning. and you turn up and there's guards and you've got to have a pass to get in. It's not like the old
But
days.
Andrew's got an office in the club.
I know, but what I'm saying is that then the next part that happens is you're not as close anymore. You don't want to be a liniment sniffer. And sometimes most people leave going to another club or go somewhere else. And then you've got to bring the players back and feel like they're all part of it again. What they need to do, if that is a situation for Andrew, is embrace him.
Yeah.
He's one of theirs. You don't let Andrew McLeod, it's all right. You're allowed to have a scrap in the family. Pull him in. Those guys today, Rue and Jamison, quite entitled to go, mate, please, a week before the showdown, do we need to hear this? Pull him in, though, and sit down. No recriminations. Let's have a beer, sort it out, and get it done. It's as simple as that.
I think the
football
response
clubs
was
love their past players.
Of course they do, and that response was a little bit strong. And ironically, Tyson Edwards, the teammate who Andrew had the falling out with, and I don't think they spoke for the last few years, he also was disgruntled with the club after they delisted. His son was taken as a rookie. And I think it's only his relationship with Matty Nix, I think they coached together at Port Adelaide, will mean that his second son will go to the club under father son. There was a serious doubt that Tyson Edwards was, or the young Edwards was going to be taken by Adelaide Crows as a father son, and he's a top 10 prospect.
Yeah.
Well, father-son, there's no more delicate situation.
You just got to, everyone's just got to
Probably
chill
help
up.
Matthew Nix get the
Ed's
job.
got another Dacos coming through soon, so
Well,
you want to look after him.
Fingers crossed.
But
Yeah.
Well, they don't. Yeah. Well,
The thing is, just relax though, and let the kids play. If they want to play there, let them play, and go and have a beer at the footy and enjoy it. And if you're in the position to be there these days, most clubs take coaches based on merit. Not
I don't
on who
think you
they
need
play
to.
for.
It wasn't lashing out. You don't need to have
I
a
don't
crack
think
at the
there was.
bloke publicly, though, Ed.
Everyone, go have a glass of lemonade together.
Well, they
and sort
didn't.
it out.
They didn't. They were actually slightly critical.
Well, they will, but you're allowed to be critical. That's it. It's a two-way conversation, as Ross said. Two truths. Get them sorted out. Fix it up.